Thank you for joining me. This is a 10-day course on relationships. This is session 4, intimacy. Intimacy in a relationship is a feeling of being connected in a way that no other relationship can match. It means emotionally connected. That is, you feel each other's love. You feel each other's pains and joys. It means you feel safe and supported. He's there for me. I can count on her. I don't know if it's okay to say this, but it's a high like no other. When it comes to intimacy in a relationship, you gotta ask yourself, what do I deserve? We send signals to our partner that tells him or her what we will accept, what we deserve. Let's do a moment of Freud. If your parents showered you with love and attention, made you feel special, well, then you're going to accept all the love that comes your way. And if your parents didn't value you, you will accept a tepid, intimate relationship. Before you start the hunt, certainly before you commit, sit down with your journal and ask, okay, how do I see myself? Do I like me? Does it show? Here's where good friends come in. Ask people you trust, how do I come across? Do I seem to like myself? Or journal about the people you've dated. What do they have in common? What's your type? When you reread your notes, does it seem you're attracting and investing in partners that will be there for you emotionally, financially, and intimately? If the answer is yes, keep on going. If the answer is no, look deep. Change what has to be changed. Your future happiness depends on your being aware of what you need to sustain a healthy, intimate relationship. After the first high of intimate contact, intimacy isn't easy to sustain. We can sell ourselves on the idea that the feelings this encounter stirs can go on forever. We've all learned that is not a fact of life. Family problems can interfere with intimacy. Responsibility at work can keep us distracted. Children from a previous relationship will make demands that impact your ability to sustain intimacy. When we commit to a relationship, mundane things like paying bills on time, or who takes out the garbage can destroy intimate moments. I worked with a Jewish woman whose father always took out the garbage. She married a Mexican American who would have nothing to do with the kitchen. He would not take out the garbage. He stated, "My father didn't take out the garbage. I'm not taking out the garbage." Sounds silly even as I write this, but it almost ended their marriage. Imagine being intimate after that kind of ruckus. Add physical intimacy to the mix. His touch, her holding my hand, cuddling, and the basic skin to skin touching can send you to the moon and back. On a day when everything seems to have gone wrong, your partner's touch can put everything in perspective. A smile happens. Emotional intimacy is a feeling of closeness that allows your personal feelings, your personal stories, to be told, heard, and understood. Studies have shown that self-disclosure can make your bond stronger. Compassion comes to mind. You see, understanding and compassion in your partner's eyes when you share. It's the best feeling. No, it's the very best feeling. I watched two cousins, husband and wife, share intellectual intimacy. They go to libraries together and share what they're experiencing. They plan extended trips and decide what they do and do not want to visit. They're a team that finds intellectual curiosity is a special bond. They keep things fresh by discovering new places. Try it. Put in the effort to share an opera or a cruise and watch your conversations build from predictable to fascinating. I have found that couples who share experiences develop a special language, a language only they can understand. A rosy-cheeked peddler in Milan, Italy, squawks, "Buongiorno." Well, every time you want to say good morning to your partner and use the Italian word, buongiorno, you are both reminded of that moment when the sun was shining and you were happy to be in Italy together. No one else gets it. That's intimacy. It's the glue that binds two people together. And what destroys intimacy? Often, when intimacy stops, it's because the couple is not communicating. They're not expressing their frustrations or their joys. Some people, because of temperament or family demands that nothing unpleasant be talked about, have not developed the tools to say, I'm unhappy when you ... or I would prefer if you would ... I worked with a couple for about 6 months. They were having intimacy problems. Finally, I asked the woman what she needed. I will never forget her answer. She said, I need my husband to greet me at the end of our working day like my cats greet me. That was never going to happen. They saw the problem and never returned to couples counseling. It is only recently, because of athletes, that depression, anxiety, and mental illness are being talked about as a cause of intimacy problems. When you or your spouse are experiencing depression, anxiety, or mental illness, too often the mind sends messages that are simply not correct. Stories developed during depression are not facts. They feel true and factual because the mind repeats them over and over, but they are not necessarily true to what is really happening. I was watching a British TV series recently. A character trying to help a depressed friend blurts out, sometimes it's the place that is the problem. Made me think. Place could mean a change of town, a change of neighborhood, or a change in job. Seek professional guidance. Because I have been in therapy to understand my own anger issues, I am particularly aware of how anger, resentment, and mistrust can diminish a relationship. Ask yourself, after you argue or disagree, how long does it take you and your partner to resolve your differences? If you both let go after talking over your differences, you've managed a healthy relationship. If differences remain because no one is communicating, figure out your own barriers to forgiveness, admit them to your spouse, and ask for similar feedback. Mistrust is an interesting phenomenon. The foundation of mistrust may come from your childhood. My father cheated on my mother. My mother cheated on my father. I was sexually assaulted. As I have said before, sexual assault is not only a woman's problem. And then there are men and women who bring mistrust into a relationship because they have been undone emotionally or financially in a previous relationship. Do not lay on your present partner issues that made a previous relationship end. Expect the best if you've worked on your issues. A final story. I worked with a couple who did not have children. I listened week after week. It was clear the wife wanted children. He would not commit. I finally challenged him. I said, "You don't want children because you're afraid of the emotional and financial responsibility." To my amazement, he agreed. They had a son, which brought up a new problem. The wife, as she watched her husband and son together, said she didn't know her husband was capable of such deep affection. She asked, "Why haven't you shown me that depth of affection?" Once again, he had no words. Having a child together falls under the intimacy umbrella. Be sure your child ties you together. Your infant is totally dependent on you, yes. However, never forget the basic rule of intimacy in relationships. Your spouse always comes first. No exceptions. Thank you again.